Go home, you lazy men. What is today, like a holiday? Don't you know that working men aren't supposed to walk around on a work day without wearing their work clothes? Like you. There. Speak up. What's your occupation?
I'm a carpenter, sir. Where are your leather aprons and your ruler? What are you doing? Wearing your best clothes. And you, sir, what's your trade?
Well, compared to a fine workman, you might call me a mere cobbler.
But what's your trade? Answer me straightforwardly.
It is a trade, sir, that I practice with a clear conscience. You see, I am a mender of worn souls.
What trade, boy? You insolent rascal! What trade?
Oh, sir, please, don't be angry. But if your souls are worn out, I can, mend you.
What do you mean by that? Mend me? You impertinent fool!
Cobble you, sir? You're a cobbler, are you? Sir, I make my living using an awl. I stick to my work. I don't, meddle in politics or, chase women. I'm a surgeon to old shoes. When they're endangered, I save them. The noblest men who ever walked on leather have walked on my handiwork. But, like, why are you in your shop today? Why are you leading these men through the streets? Well, to wear out their shoes and get myself more work. Seriously, though, we took the day off to, see Caesar, sir, and celebrate his triumph.
Why would you celebrate it? What victory does he bring home? What foreign lands has he conquered and captive foreigners chained to his chariot wheels? What blockhead, you unfeeling man! You hard hearts, you cruel men of Rome! Didn't you know Pompey? How many you climbed up a wall and battlements, towers, and windows, even chimney tops, with your babies in your arms, and sat there patiently all day waiting to see great Pompey ride through the streets of Rome? And when you caught a glimpse of his chariot, didn't you shout as loud that the river timber shook as it echoed? And now you put on your best clothes, and now you take a holiday? And now you toss flowers in the path of Caesar, who comes in triumph over Pompey's defeat sons? So go home, run to your houses, fall on your knees and pray to gods to spare you the pain that you deserve for such ingratitude.
Yeah, go, good countrymen. And to make up for, like, having done wrong, gather up all your poor men, like yourselves, lead them to the Tiber, and weep into the river until it overflows its banks. Well, that ought to move even the most thick-headed of them. There they go, like, feeling so guilty they're now tongue-tied. They don't have a thing to say. You go up toward the Capitol, and I'll go, like, this way. Undressed statues, if they're decorated in honor of Caesar.
Can we do that? You know it's the Feast of Lupercal.
Like, it doesn't matter. Make sure that none of the statues are decorated in tribute to Caesar. I'll walk around and force the commoners, like, off the streets. You do the same wherever, like, the crowds are thick. If we take away Caesar's support, he'll, like, have to come back down to earth. Otherwise, he'll fly too high and keep the rest of us in a state of fear and obedience.
Calpurnia! Quiet! Caesar's talking! Calpurnia!
I'm here, my lord.
Stand right in Antonio's path. When he runs the race, Antonius!
Yes, Caesar?
Antonius, after you take off, don't forget to touch Calpurnia, because our wise elders say that if you touched an infertile woman during this holy race, she'll be freed from the curse of sterility.
I'll remember. When Caesar says, do this, it's done.
Continue then. And don't forget to perform all of the rituals. Caesar!
Who's calling me?
Quiet! Everyone, quiet!
Who in the crowd is calling me? I hear a voice more piercing than the music of these trumpets calling. Caesar! Speak! Caesar is listening.
Beware of March 15th.
Who's that?
A soothsayer tells you to beware of March 15th. Whoa.
Whoa. Bring him in front of me. Let me see his face.
You, fellow, step out of the crowd. This is Caesar you're looking at.
What do you have to say to me now? Speak once again.
Beware of March 15th.
He's insane. Let's leave him. Let's move.
Are you going to watch the race?
No, not me. Whoa.
Please come.
I don't like sports. I'm not competitive like Antony. But don't let me keep you from going, Cassius. I'll go my own way.
Brutus, I've been watching you lately. You seem less good-natured and affectionate towards me than usual. You've been stubborn and unfamiliar with me, your friend who loves you.
Cassius, don't take it badly. If I seem guarded, it's only because I'm uneasy with myself. Lately, I've been overwhelmed with private thoughts and inner conflicts which have affected my behavior. But this shouldn't trouble my good friends, and I consider you a good friend, Cassius. Don't think anything more about my distraction than that poor Brutus, who is at war with himself and forgets to show affection to others. Whoa.
That's deep.
Brutus, I misunderstood your feelings, and therefore kept to myself certain thoughts I might have shared. Tell me, good Brutus, can you see your face?
No, Cassius. The eye cannot see itself, except by reflection in other surfaces. Whoa.
That's true, and it's too bad, Brutus, that you don't have any mirrors that could display your hidden excellence to yourself. I've heard many of the noblest Romans, next to immortal Caesar, speaking of you, complaining of the tyranny of today's government, and wishing that your eyes were working better.
What dangers are you trying to lead me into, Cassius? And that you want me to look inside myself for something that's not there? Whoa.
I'll tell you, good Brutus. And since you know you can see yourself best by reflection, I'll be your mirror and show you, without exaggeration, things inside you that you cannot see. And don't be suspicious of me, noble Brutus. If I were your average fool, or if I made my feelings for you worthless by making the same promises of friendship to everybody, or if you'd seen me first flattering men, hugging them tightly, and later slandering them behind their backs, or if you hear that I drunkenly declare friendship at banquets with all that rabble, only then, of course, go ahead and assume I'm dangerous.
Whoa! Why are they shouting? I'm afraid the people have made Caesar their king. Whoa.
Really? Are you afraid of that? Then I have to assume you don't want him to be king.
I don't, Cassius, though I love Caesar very much. But why do you keep me here so long? What do you want to tell me? If it's for the good of all Romans, I'd do it, even if it meant my death. Whoa. Let the gods give me good luck, only as long as I love honor more than I fear death. I know this quality in you, Brutus. It's as familiar to me as your face. Indeed, honor is what I want to talk to you about. I don't know what you and other men think of this life, but as for me, I'd rather not live at all than live to worship a man as ordinary as myself. I was born as free as Caesar. So are you. We both have eaten as well, and we both can endure the cold winter as well as he. Once, on a cold and windy day, when the river Tiber was crashing against its banks, Caesar said to me, Cassius, I dare you to jump into this rough water with me and swim to that point there. As soon as he spoke, though I was fully dressed, I plunged in and called for him to follow. And he did. The water roared, and we fought against it with vigorous arms. And thanks to our fierce competitiveness, we made progress. But before we reached the end point, Caesar cried, Help me, Cassius, or I will sink. And just as Aeneas, the hero who founded Rome, emerged from the fires of Troy with his elderly father, Achaeus, on his shoulder, so I emerged from the Tiber, carrying tired Caesar. And this is the man who has now become a god, and I am a wretched creature who must bow down if Caesar so much as carelessly nods my way. In Spain, Caesar had a fever, and it made him shake. It's true, the so-called god. He shook. His cowardly lips turned white, and the same eye who gazed terrifies the world lost its gleam. I heard him groan. Yes, I did. And the same tongue that ordered the Romans to obey him and transcribe his speeches in their books cried, Give me some water, Titanius, like a sick girl. It astounds me that such a weak man could beat the whole world and carry the trophy of victory alone. Ha! More shouting. Whoa. I think this applause is for some new honors awarded to Caesar. Why, Caesar straddles the narrow world like a giant, and we petty men walk under his huge legs and look forward only to dying dishonorably as slaves. Men can be masters of their fate. It is not destiny's fault, but our own faults that we're slaves. Brutus and Caesar. What's so special about Caesar? Why should that name be proclaimed more than yours? Write them together. Yours is just as good a name. Pronounce them. It is just as nice to say. Weigh them. It's just as heavy. Cast spells with them, and Brutus will call up a ghost as well as Caesar. Now, in the name of all the gods, I ask you, what food does Caesar eat that has made him grown so great? Our era should be ashamed. Rome has lost the ability to raise noble men. When was there ever an age, since the beginning of time, that didn't feature more than one famous man? Until now, no one could say that only one man mattered in all of vast Rome. Now, though, in all of Rome, there's room for only one man. You and I have heard our fathers talk of another Brutus, your ancestor, who would have let the devil himself reign in his Roman Republic before he let a king rule. I have no doubt that you love me. Well, I'm beginning to understand what you want me to do. When I think about this, and about what's happening here in Rome, I'll tell you later. For now, don't try to persuade me anymore. I ask you as a friend. I'll think over what you've said. I'll listen patiently to whatever else you have to say, and I'll find a good time for us to discuss further such weighty matters. Until then, my noble friend, think about this. I'd rather be a poor villager than call myself a citizen of Rome under the hard conditions that this time is likely to put us through. Whoa. I'm glad my weak words have provoked even this small show of protest from you. The games are done and Caesar is returning. Whoa. As they pass by, grab Casca by the sleeve, and he'll tell you if anything important has happened today in his usual sour way. I'll do so. But look, Cassius, Caesar looks angry, and everyone else looks as if they've been scolded. Calpurnia's face is pale, and Cicero's eyes are red and fiery, as they get when senators are arguing with him at the Capitol. Whoa. Casca will tell us what's the matter.
Antonio!
Antony.
Antony!
Caesar?
I want the men around me to be fat, healthy-looking men who sleep at night. That's Cassius over there has a lean and hungry look. He thinks too much. Men like him are dangerous.
Don't be afraid of him, Caesar. He isn't dangerous. He's a noble Roman with a good disposition.
I wish he were fatter. But I'm not afraid of him. And yet, if I were capable of fearing anyone, Cassius would be the first man I'd avoid. He reads a lot, he's a keen observer, and he sees the hidden motives in what men do. He doesn't like playing the way we do. And Tony, he doesn't listen to music. He rarely smiles, and when he does smile, he does so in self-mocking way, as if he were scorning himself for smiling at all. Men like him will never be comfortable while someone ranks higher than themselves. And therefore, they're very dangerous. I'm telling you what should be feared, not what I fear. Because after all, I am Caesar. Come here to my right side, because I'm deafened this year. And tell me what you really think of Cassius. You tugged my cloak. Do you want to speak with me?
Yeah, Casca. Tell us what happened today that put Caesar in such a serious mood. Whoa.
But you were with him, weren't you?
If I were, bruh, I wouldn't need to ask you what happened.
A crown was offered to him, and he pushed it away with the back of his hand, like this.
Oh.
And then the people were shouting.
What was the second noise for?
The same thing.
They shouted 3 times. What was the last cry for?
For the same thing.
The crown was offered to him 3 times?
Yes, indeed it was. And he pushed it away 3 times, each time more gently than the last. And at each refusal, my countrymen shouted,
Who offered him the crown?
Antonio!
Antony.
Antony!
Tell us how it happened, noble Casca. Whoa.
I can't explain it. It was all silly, and so I paid no attention. I saw Mark Antonio, Antony, offer him a crown, though it wasn't a real crown, just a small circlet. And as I told you, he refused it once. Though in my opinion, he would have liked to have it. Then Antony offered it to him again, and he refused it again. Though, in my opinion, he was reluctant to take his hand off of it. Then Antony offered it the 3rd time. He refused it the 3rd time. And as he refused it to the commoners, hooted and clapped their chapped hands and threw up their sweaty hats and let loose such a great deal of stinking breath because Caesar refused the crown that he nearly choked Caesar because he fainted and fell. As for myself, I didn't dare laugh for fear of opening my lips and inhaling the stinking air.
But wait a minute, please. Did you say Caesar fainted?
He fell down in the marketplace and foamed at the mouth and was speechless.
That's very likely. He has epilepsy. Whoa. A disease where you fall down. No, Caesar doesn't have epilepsy. You and I, and honest Casca here,
We have epilepsy. We've fallen.
I don't know what you mean by that, but I'm sure Caesar fell down. The rambled applause and hissed him according to whatever he pleased them or dissed them, just like they do in the actors in the theater. If they didn't, I'm a liar.
But what did he say when he regained his consciousness?
Indeed, before he fell down, when he realized the commoners were glad that he refused the crown, he pulled open his robe and offered them to slit his throat. If I'd been a common laborer and hadn't hit him up on his offer, to hell with me! And so he fainted. Then he regained consciousness again and said that if he'd done or said anything wrong, he wanted them to know that it was all because of his sickness. 3 or 4 women near him cried, "Alas, good soul!" and forgave him with all their hearts. But never mind them. If Caesar had stabbed their mothers, they would have forgiven him.
And after that, he came back to here looking so serious?
Yes,
Did Cicero say anything?
yes, he said something in Greek.
What did he say?
If I told you I understood Greek, I'd be lying. But those who understood him smiled at one another and shook their heads. As for myself, it was Greek to me. I have more news too. Marillus and Flavius had been punished for pulling scarves off statues of Caesar. There you go. There was even more foolishness if I could only remember it.
Will you have dinner with me tonight, Casca?
No, I have a commitment.
Will you dine with me tomorrow?
Yes, if I'm still alive and you're still sane, and your dinner is worth eating.
Good. He'll expect you.
Do so. Farewell to both of you. Casca exits.
What a stupid man he's become. He was so sharp when he was in school. Whoa.
He's still sharp when it comes to carrying out a bold and noble enterprise. Though he puts on this show of stupidity, he speaks roughly, but what he says is smart, and his roughness makes other people enjoy listening to him.
Bro, you're right. That's how it is. Whoa. I'll leave you for now. If you'd like to talk tomorrow, I'll come to your home. Or, if you don't mind, come to my home, and I'll wait for you.
I'll do so. Until then, think about the well-being of Rome. Well, Brutus, you're noble. Yet I see that your honorable character can be bent from its usual shape, which proves that good men should stick only to the company of other good men. Because who is so firm that he can't be seduced? Caesar resents me, but he loves Brutus. If I were Brutus now, and Brutus were me, I wouldn't have let him influence me. Tonight, I'll throw in his window a few letters in different handwriting, as if they came from several citizens, all testifying to the great respect Romans have for Brutus, and all alluding to Caesar's unseemly ambition. And after this, let Caesar brace himself, for we'll either dethrone him or suffer even worse than now.
Good evening, Casca. Did you accompany Caesar home? Why are you breathless? And why are you staring like that?
Aren't you disturbed when the earth itself is shaking and swaying as if it were a flimsy thing? Cicero, I've seen storms in which the angry winds spit out oak trees, and I've seen the ocean swell, rage, and foam, as if it wanted to reach the storm clouds. But never before tonight, never until now, have I experienced a storm that drops fire. Either there are wars in heaven, or else the world, too insolent toward the gods, provokes them to send destruction.
What? Have you seen something so strange that is clearly an omen from the gods?
A common slave. You'd know him if you saw him. Held up his left hand. which flamed and burned like 20 torched together. And yet his hand was immune to the fire and didn't get burned, although I've kept my sword unsheathed since I saw this. In front of the Capitol, I met a lion who looked at me and strutted by without bothering to attack me. And there were 1,000 spooked women huddled together in fear who swore they saw a man on fire walk up and down the streets. And yesterday the night owl hooting and shrieking in the marketplace at noon. When it was extraordinarily things happen at once, we shouldn't say. These things could be explained rationally. They're natural enough. I think these things are omens of things to come in our country.
Indeed. It's a strange time, but men tend to interpret things however suits them and totally miss the actual meaning of the things themselves. Is Caesar visiting the capital tomorrow?
He is, because he told Antonius to tell you he'd be there tomorrow.
Good night then, Casca. This bad weather isn't good to walk around in.
Farewell, Cicero.
Who's there?
A Roman.
It's Casca. I know your voice.
Your ear is good, Cassius. What a night this is.
It's a very pleasing night to honest men.
Whoever saw the heavens threatened like this?
Those who have known bad things are here on earth. I have walked around these streets, exposing myself to the perilous night, unbuttoned like this, as you see, Casca, bearing my chest to the thunderbolt. When the forked blue lightning seemed to break open the sky, I put myself where I thought it would hit.
But why did you tempt the heavens like this? Mankind's role is to fear and tremble when the Almighty God sent warning signals.
You're acting stupid, Casca, and you lack the quick wits that a Roman should have, or else you don't use them. You go pale, you stare, and you act in awe of the strange disturbance in the heavens. But if you thought about the real reason for all these fires, all these gliding ghosts, for why birds and animals abandon their natural behavior, why old men, fools, and children make predictions, why all sorts of things have departed from the usual course of their natures and become monstrosities, then you'd understand that heaven had them act this way, so they could serve as frightening warnings of an unnatural state to come. Right this minute, Casca, I could name a man who's just like this dreadful night. A man who thunders, throws lightning, splits open graves, and roars like a lion in the Capitol. A man no mightier than you or I in ability, yet grown as huge and frightening as tonight's strange happenings.
You're talking about Caesar, right, Cassius?
Let it be who it is. Romans today still have the powerful bodies of their ancestors, but unfortunately, we don't have their manly spirits. And instead, we take after our mothers. Our tolerance for slavery and oppression shows us to be weak, like women. Good Lord, that thunder is really going, don't you think?
Yes. Indeed. They say that the senators plan to establish Caesar as king tomorrow, and he'll wear his crown at sea and on land, everywhere except here in Italy.
I know what I'll wear this dagger then. I'll kill myself to save myself from slavery. In suicide, gods make the weak strong. In suicide, gods allow the tyrants to be defeated. No stony tower, no brass walls, no airless dungeon, no iron chains can contain a strong mind. But if a man becomes weary of these obstacles, he can always kill himself. Let everyone beware. I can shake off the tyranny that now oppresses me whenever I choose.
So can I. In fact, every imprisoned man holds in his own hand a tool to free himself.
How can Caesar be a tyrant then? Poor man. I know he wouldn't be a wolf if the Romans didn't act like sheep. He couldn't be a lion if the Romans weren't such easy prey. People who want to start a big fire quickly start with little twigs. Rome becomes complete trash. Nothing but rubbish and garbage when it works to light up the ambitions of someone as worthless as Caesar. But oh no, what have I said in my grief? I might be speaking to someone who wants to be a slave, in which case I'll be held accountable for my words. But I'm armed and don't care about danger.
You're talking to Casca, not to some smiling, two-faced tattletale. Say no more, shake my hand. If you're joining together the rights to wrongs, I'll go as far as any one of you.
That's a deal. Now let me tell you, Casca, I have already convinced some of the noblest Romans to join me in an honorable but dangerous mission. And I know by now that means they're waiting for me on the porch outside Pompey's theatre. We're meeting on this fearful night because no one is out on the streets. The sky tonight looks bloody, fiery, and terrible, just like the work we have to do.
Hide for a moment. Someone's approaching fast.
It's Cinna. I recognize his walk. He's a friend. Cinna, what are you doing in such a hurry?
To find you, silly. Who's that, Metellus Cimber?
No, it's Casca. Someone who's going to work with us. Aren't the others waiting for me, Cinna?
I'm glad Casca's with us. What a fearful night this is. 2 or 3 of us have seen strange things.
Are the others waiting? Tell me.
Yes, they are. Oh my gosh, you're so smart. Oh, Cassius, if you could only convince Brutus to join us.
Don't worry. Good Cinna. Take this paper and be sure to lay it in the judge's chair where Brutus sits, so he'll find it. And throw this one in his window. And attach this one with wax to the statue of Brutus's ancestor, old Brutus. When you've finished all this, return to the porch of Pompey's theatre, where you'll find us and Decius Brutus and Trombonius there.
Everyone's there except Metellus Cimber. And he's going to look for you at your house. Oh my god. Well, I'll hurry and put these papers where you told me.
When you're finished, go back to Pompey's theatre. Come on, Casca. You and I will go see Brutus at his house before sunrise. He's 3/4 on our side already, and we'll win him over entirely at this meeting.
Oh, the people love him well. Things that will look bad if we did them, Brutus could do and look virtuous. Just like an alchemist turns worthless tin to gold.
Yes, you're absolutely right about how worthy Brutus is and how much we need him. Let's go, because it's already after midnight and we want him on our side before daylight.